So, hi there everybody, welcome, good to be with you all, great to see you. So good morning Manisco, good morning Marco, good morning Alex, hi Vitali, hi there Oksana, hi Maurits, hi Keyword, and hi to Victoria. Okay, so next stream is going to be on Thursday, which will be New Year's Day, and then on Friday the 2nd. So that makes this the last live stream this year. Yes, very definitely. Let me just pull this a little bit further forward. Okay. So we were doing an article about how music calms animals, classical music or easy listening, and there are about 4 or 5 more questions of that. So the tailored approach allows her to remove agitating frequencies and adjust tempos and harmonics, so the sound peals, pulsates, oscillates, resonates, blares comfortably. -2 degrees in Kiev. The other day in Hungary they said -20. Resonates, says Vitali. Last but not least. Great to have you, Manisco. So it's about, I think it's about 5 degrees here today in Spain, in northern Spain. Hi VK. VK says resonates. So does Manu. So does Maurits. Hi Manu. Lovely to see you. Okay. Oksana says pulsates or oscillates. So sound could oscillate. I suppose sound could oscillate. But if sound is oscillating, it's going wee 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 to pulsate, boom, boom, boom. And I think if you remember, I think if the sound is pulsating, there's lots and lots of drum beats in it, and the drum beats are what upset the animals. So let's see, peals, a peal of bells, the bells peal. Okay, so a peal of bells. I don't think it's a peal of bells somehow. It's let's see. To pulsate reminds me of the music of a club or a discotheque. Hi Manu, lovely to see you. Happy New Year, Manu. Great to have you. To oscillate to me sounds like a scientist studying it. It could be. To resonate comfortably. I think resonates here. And to blare is to make a loud noise. The radio was blaring. Okay, so resonates. Let's continue. Eventually, she created a sound catalogue made up of a mix of genres called Pet Acoustics, which is backed by several peer, colleague, fellow, associate reviewed studies. Okay, peer reviewed for Vitali, peer reviewed for Oksana, peer reviewed for Maurits, peer reviewed for Alex. Hi Victor, lovely to see you. Nell's Everyday English Quiz. Okay, so peer, colleague, fellow, associate. Fellow reviewed, says Manu as well. Peer reviewed. Okay, if you want to get something published, you will know this phrase. Hi Patricia, lovely to see you. I hope you're feeling better, Patricia. Peer review. This is where somebody who does the same thing, things as you, or something similar to you, reviews your work before it is published. Associate reviewed. Let's see, it could be anyone. I'm sorry to hear you're not better. Fellow reviewed, fellow colleague reviews. It's peer review system. You can even get paid for peer reviews. I haven't seen Julia yet, Manu. In journal publishing, peer reviewed is very common. Yeah, exactly, VK. It's a collocation. Whether you try through a dog's ear, Marlow's compositions, or a personally curated, put together mix of classical music, finding what works for your pet will likely take some trial, test, and mistake, errata, error, fault. So trial and test, says Manu. Trial and error, says Oksana. Error, says Manu. Trial and error, says Alex. A collocation. Trial and error, says Keyword. Trial and error, says Vitali. Manu says trial and error. Yes, this looks better. Trial and error for Julia. Hi, Julia. Trial and error for VK. Trial for Maurits. Test and mistake, says Victoria. It's real is trial and error. Trial and error, Victoria. Trial and error. And there's no heating. Whoa. So, trial and error, very, very definitely. This is a collocation, as Alex says. Trial and error for Patricia as well. But if Margot's, rise and shine again, but if Margot's experience is any indication, the right soothing, sedative, palliative, assuaging sound can make all the difference. I would guess in Myanmar it's maybe 5 hours later. It's probably 4 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon. Soothing for Vitali, soothing for Maurits, soothing for Oksana, soothing for Keyword. The right soothing, says Manu. Soothing, says Alex. Soothing, says Alex and Anu. Welcome, Anu. Soothing for Victoria. Soothing for Julia. Soothing for VK. Okay, so sedative makes you go to sleep. Palliative makes an illness, or very often something that's going to kill you, less painful. And assuaging, you assuage your thirst, you assuage your hunger. Soothing, says Patricia. Soothing for VK as well. So, soothing. And that's it. That's the end of this one. Make something less painful. So, how your lost bag ended up for sale in Alabama. New article. And here we go. Every day, thousands of travellers come to a town in Alabama to screen, sieve, sift, scrutinise, probe through lost bags filled with everything from wedding dresses to medieval suits of armour. Sweet Home Alabama. No, you didn't arrive so late, Manu. Sift, says Oksana. Sift, says Vitali. Sift, says Julia. Sift through, says VK. Sift, says Manu. Sift, says Victoria. Sift through, says Maurits. Sift, says Alex. To scrutinise, but without the through, Anu. To scrutinize something, to scrutinize lost bags. To scrutinize is to look at very carefully. To sort through, says Vitali. Sift through, says Patricia. Oh, Moon of Alabama. Okay, so to screen without the through, but normally you screen candidates. It's my brain that's sieve. My cold it's a bit better. I think it's actually a problem with my sinuses rather than a cold. To comb through, says Alex. To sieve through. Let's see. Sieve and sift are very, very similar. To probe is to investigate. Victoria. So there's a probe into government corruption. Okay, a sieve. A sieve is something with little holes in the bottom, and you put maybe flour in and you move it through. But to sift and to sieve in this case, sift through is examine all the parts of something. To sieve or to sift is to separate the bigger bits from the little bits. To sieve flour, or for example, you can sieve or sift sand so that the small grains go through. But sieve is literal. A sieve is like a wire mesh. You could also say a sifter, but sift we also use metaphorically. To find the bits that you want from the bits that you don't want. Okay, and wow, if you're among the many millions of travellers boarding a flight in or to the US this holiday season, there's more than a 99.5% chance you'll be reconciled, reunited, reunified, reconnected with your baggage at your destination's baggage claim. Reunited, says Vitali. Reunited, says Mauritz. Reunited, says Oksana. Reunited, says Manu. Reunited for Anu. Reunited for Julia. Reunited for Victoria. Reconnected. To have a memory like a sieve. Yeah, some information just falls through the holes. Reconnected, says Manu. Could be. Reunited, says Patricia. So reconcile. To reconcile is to make two things equal, to make something logical. If you have something that is, let's see, two things that seem different, you try to reconcile them, or you can reconcile differences between people. To make things equal again, to make things better again. I don't like the way this is. That's better. Reunited with your baggage. Reunited looks pretty good to me. Reunified. So Germany was separated during the Cold War, and then it was reunified in 1989. Reconnected. You normally reconnect with somebody you haven't seen for a very long time. Travel light suitcase. Me too. Reconcile a disagreement and be friends again. Very good, VK. So to be reunited. Yes, that was it. What I was trying to say earlier about reconcile. If you've got two things that are mutually exclusive, it's impossible to reconcile one with the other. Okay. He reconciled with his estranged wife after a period of separation. That's great, Julia. Thank you very much. Or if it's misplaced, misguided, missed, misled within 90 days through your airline. Lost and found, straightforward, the corridor. Misplaced, says keyword. Misplaced, says Vitali. Misplaced for Alex. Misplaced for Maurits. Misplaced for Manu. Misplaced for Oksana. Misguided means you did the wrong thing. Misplaced for Anu. Misplaced for VK. Misplaced for Julia. Misplaced for Vital. Or mislaid. Yes. Missing. Or if it's missing. So if it goes missing. If it goes missing. If it's misplaced. Yes. Misled is somebody gets you to believe something that's not true. If it goes missing. God. If it goes missing. That looks better. If it's missed. I have a memory like a sieve. Memory like a sieve. Okay, so if it's misplaced, but if you're one of the rare few who never sees their suitcase again, it's likely you're thoroughly, minutely, accurately, meticulously packed belongings ended up in Scottsboro, Alabama. So this is the home for lost baggage. Meticulously, says Vitali. Meticulously, says Oksana. Meticulously for Alex and Keyword and Maurits. Too many notes in your symphony's life. Meticulously for Anu. Meticulously for Julia and VK. You're thoroughly packed. Thoroughly packed. No, it's totally packed. Minutely packed. You pack the little bits. Accurately packed. Everything's in the right place. Meticulously packed. Meticulously, says Manu and Patricia. Meticulously. Okay, so thoroughly packed. No, thoroughly packed. Are you thoroughly packed? Have you got everything you need? But meticulously, you do everything with in the right order, with planning and everything. It's meticulously packed, very definitely. And will soon find new homes via courtesy, help, aid, reason of the many treasure hunting shoppers at Unclaimed Baggage, the nation's only lost luggage retailer. So, courtesy, says Oksana. Courtesy of, says Keyword. Courtesy, says Maurits. Courtesy of, says Manu. So via, no of. USA and courtesy don't match. Courtesy, says VK. Courtesy of, says Vitali. So via the. With the help of. With the aid of. By reason of, no, courtesy of. Courtesy says Julia. Courtesy says Alex. Director lost and found. So courtesy of, very definitely. Courtesy of for Patricia as well. Okay, courtesy of the many shoppers. Growing up a few hours' drive away in Georgia, I'd heard stories about unclaimed baggage, a mystical spot where lost bags, seemingly gone forever, recur, revert, resume, reappear, revolve, courtesy of, exactly, Victoria. Reappear says keyword, reappear says Alex, reappear for Vitali. In Dublin, lost and found baggage complaint, there was a large row. Reappear says Oksana, reappear says Manu. Reappear says Anu. Resurrect I prefer here. Okay, to resurrect from the dead. Reappear says Julia. Reappear for Maurits. Vanished into thin air says Manu. Resurface. I like resurface from Alex. Smash the like says Julia. Reappear for VK. Reappear for Patricia. To recur is to happen again. Turn up says Vitali. So a situation can recur again and again. It happens again and again. To revert is to go back to a previous situation. To resume is to start again. To reappear is what we need, and to revolve is to go round and round. So to reappear. Reappear. There is a real gag in airports and baggage. Too many unusual lost your suitcase. Materialise. Materialise is good. They materialise again. So resurface, to appear again after being lost, stolen, etc. is very suitable, yes. I knew the company has a long-term agreement with all the US's major airlines to purchase baggage, checked and carry on, that goes unvoiced, unspoken, unexpressed, undeclared for on that fateful 91st day. Undeclared for, says Vitali. Undeclared for, says Alex. Undeclared for, says Julia. Undeclared for, says Manu. Unexpressed for, says Oksana. Undeclared for, says Anu. Keyword says unspoken for. Undeclared for Patricia. Unclaimed, undeclared, says VK. Undeclared says Maurits. Undeclared says Victoria. Let's see if there are any more answers, because someone is going to get an ice cream here, definitely. Unrequested on that. So unvoiced, voiced and unvoiced consonants. A. Perhaps I think A is an unvoiced. Say goodbye to your suitcase. Unexpressed for, no. Undeclared for. This is about undeclared customs. No, customs. Do you have anything to declare? No. Unspoken for. Well done, keyword. Well done, keyword. So definitely a mega ice cream for keyword. Unspoken for. That's it, Vitali. if you speak for something, this is also to say this is mine. That is spoken for. It's claimed. To speak for something, particularly the phrase spoken for, it belongs to somebody. I'm sorry, you can't have this seat. This seat is spoken for. No, there are voiced and unvoiced vowels, VK. E is definitely voiced. E. Voiced is where you put your finger here, and if you can feel it vibrate, it's voiced. Okay, so this seat is spoken for. It's reserved. Well done, keyword. Okay, so well done, Vitaly, as well. So unspoken for on that fateful day. When, after airline compensation, ownership of your favourite travel outfit, prized accoutrements, and family legacies, inheritance is heirlooms, heritage, endowments is officially severed. So checked is where you check in your baggage. You give the baggage to the person to when you check in, and carry on is luggage that that you carry on board with you. So checked baggage is a suitcase that disappears, and carry on is a small suitcase that you carry. Unclaimed baggage is used in India. Heirlooms, says Vitaly. Heirlooms, says Oksana. Legacies, says Manu. Heirlooms, says VK. Heirlooms for Alex. Okay, checked and unchecked. So let's see. Baggage, checked and unchecked. It's adding a little bit of information in the middle, particularly between a pair of commas or between a pair of M dashes. It's a common construction in it. Yeah, you carry it on the aeroplane with you. So legacies for Victoria, legacies for Julia, heirlooms or inheritance. It sounds as if it's a saint's bones. Extra info separated by commas or M dashes. Okay, family legacies. I'm not a holy relic, me neither. A family legacy. But no, a legacy is something that it is everything. The legacy. Normally the legacy is the whole estate of the dead person. The family inheritance, no. The family heritage, the family endowment. The only object here is an heirloom. An heirloom is something that is just one object that has been handed down over the years. My aunt gave me a legacy in her will of £5,000. He received his inheritance. It's the money of the things you inherit, but the heirlooms. An heirloom is an object that's in a family and has been for a long time. Heritage is normally about a country, and an endowment is a quality or something that you've been given. You carry it on board. Heirlooms, says Julia. Heirlooms like old jewellery, says VK. That's perfect, VK. Yeah, you love women with good endowments, dear. The contents of those unclaimed suitcases, if deemed, supposed, reputed, adjudicated, saleable, are then sorted and priced up to 80% off retail before becoming part of the more than 7,000 new items on the store's massive 50,000 square foot floor each day. Deemed, says Vitaly, deemed for Maurits, deemed for Patricia. Like your mum's bracelet. Dean, says Alex. Deep, says Oksana. Hi, Artem Alexandrov. Great to have you. If Dean, says Artem Alex. Dean, says Manu. Dean, says VK. Dean, says Julia. If supposed saleable. Supposed might fit, but I prefer Dean. Deemed for Anu. Great to have you, Artem Alex. Deemed for Julia as well. Reputed. If something is reputed, he has a reputation. He's reputed to be a really good cook. He has a reputation for. Adjudicated. For example, in an auction, the auctioneer, the hammer goes down and it's adjudicated to you. Adjudicated, decided, allotted. No, if deemed. Your Honour, it is deemed that my suitcase vanished into the most dangerous airport in the world, JFK. The most dangerous. Or maybe LaGuardia. Okay, and most dangerous, not doomed. Adjudicate, make an official who wins a disagreement. It's a decision. It's a final decision about something. In 2024, around 500 million pieces of luggage were checked in, on, to, onto American flights, with another 2.1 billion bags carried on. Check in, says Manu. Onto, says Oksana. In, says Maurit. In, says Victoria. In, says Artem Alex. In, says Alex. In, says Anu. In, says Julia. In or onto, says Patricia. Check onto, says Manu. On, says Yegorich. Read slowly, Manu. Very good, Manu. In, says VK. Check onto, says Julia. Read slowly as Manu says. He's got the idea. Okay. 50 million pieces of luggage were checked in. Nothing more. Were checked on American flights. Could be. Check to, definitely not. But onto. Were checked onto American flights. Were checked onto the flights. That's the point. They were checked in. Full stop. Onto, says Alex. Yes. The luggage was checked onto. Exactly, Artem Alex. You've got it exactly. The luggage was checked in, but it was checked onto. Yep. Aye. Yes, with suitcases, this seems to have jammed. Well, I need to stop here anyway, but this seems my word seems to have jammed. I don't know why. Anyway, let me try and sort this out. This is going to be the last one for today. Let me close this. Yeah, it's all okay. Let me try this again. So next one will be on Tuesday. Next will be on Thursday, which will be on New Year's Day. Let's have a look at this. It's come back in the right. Yes, it is even come back in the right spot. Now that's better. But no. Bear with me, I'm almost there. Thank you. And I've got the wrong one now, haven't I? Okay, take care all of you. It's been great having you. Let me do this properly. And I'm making a total mess of this, from bad to worse. Okay, so thank you to Alex and Anu, and thank you to Artemalix, thank you to Julia, thank you to Maurits. Thank you to Manisco, and thank you to Manu. Thank you to Oksana and Patricia and VK. Thank you to Yegorich, and thank you to Victoria, and thank you to Vitali. I then opened the wrong file. This is it. This is better. Here I am. Okay, this is where we got to. So I'm sorry about the mess. Yes, finally, onto. We checked onto American flights. So next stream is on Thursday, 1st of January at 3:30 p.m. UK time. So take care all of you. I'm sorry about the mess up. Happy New Year to all of you. All's well that ends well. Jumping Jack Flash is a gas. That sounds pretty good, Manu. So take care all of you. It's been great having you. Thank you to Julia. Thank you, VK. Thank you, Vitali. Thank you, Patricia. Hey, it's bumming around. Okay, Happy New Year. UK Tenerife time. That sounds pretty good to me. Okay, so have a Happy New Year, and I will see you next year. Last one of the year. So